Mom-in-law, my husband promised I could live in your house. The sentence landed in the quiet living room like a stone dropped into still water. Fernanda stood framed in the doorway, two massive suitcases planted on the welcome mat, her chin lifted in that way she had when she expected the world to rearrange itself for her convenience. Behind her, Mark lingered half in shadow, hands shoved deep in his jacket pockets, eyes flicking between his wife and me as though waiting for someone to explain the rules of the game he'd suddenly found himself playing. I was 68, retired from 35 years teaching high school English in suburban Chicago, widowed for 12 years, and, until that moment, still the woman who always said yes. Yes to the emergency loans that were never repaid. Yes to hosting every holiday meal for 20 people while they arrived empty-handed. Yes to watching the grandchildren every time they needed a free weekend. Yes to the credit card emergencies that mysteriously turned into spa days and new handbags. I took one slow sip of the coffee I'd just poured, black, no sugar, the way I'd taken it every morning since my husband's funeral, and met Fernanda's gaze over the rim of the mug. "That's interesting," I said. My voice came out even, almost curious. "Because I sold the house last Monday." The suitcases hit the hardwood with a dull, expensive-sounding thud. Fernanda's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Mark made a small, strangled noise. "You, what?" Fernanda's voice cracked on the last word. "I signed the purchase agreement Tuesday morning. The buyers wired the down payment Wednesday, $65,000. Closings in 10 days. Nice young couple. They're expecting twins in July. Already talking about turning the spare bedroom into a nursery." Mark stepped forward, one hand raised as though he could physically stop what I just said. "Mom, you're not serious." "I'm very serious." Fernanda laughed, a short, sharp bark that held no humor. "This is a joke. Mark told me you'd already agreed. He said the house was basically ours whenever we needed it. I gave notice on our apartment 2 weeks ago. The kids," her voice pitched higher, the way it did when she sensed control slipping. "The kids need a backyard. Stability. You can't just sell it out from under us." I set the mug down on the entry table with a soft clink. "Mark may have promised a great many things, Fernanda. But this house was mine. Paid off in 2014 after 22 years of double shifts and summer school grading. I decided what happened to it." She stared at me as though I'd spoken in a foreign language. Then she stepped inside, without invitation, her heels clicking an angry rhythm across the floorboards I'd refinished myself in 2008. "You can't do this. We're family. Family doesn't pull the rug out from under each other like this." "Family," I repeated. The word tasted strange in my mouth after so many years of swallowing it whole. Mark closed the front door behind him. "Mom, why didn't you tell us?" "Because every time I tried to talk about my future, the conversation became about your present problems. Your rent increase. Leo's braces. Mia's dance classes. Fernanda's dream of opening her own boutique clinic. My future never seemed to have room in those discussions." Fernanda crossed her arms. "So you're punishing us? By selling the only home we have left?" "No," I said. "I'm saving myself." I walked past them into the living room. The space was warm, cream walls, built-in bookshelves stuffed with novels and photo albums, the navy sofa I'd bought when Mark started college. I sat in my favorite armchair, the one whose velvet arms were worn smooth from years of resting my elbows while I graded papers or read to the grandchildren. "Sit," I told them. They hesitated, then obeyed, Mark on the edge of the coffee table, Fernanda on the couch, back straight as though she was still in control. I reached for the sideboard drawer and pulled out the folder I'd prepared over the last 3 months. Thick. Heavy. Receipts, bank statements, Venmo histories, text message screenshots, all dated and itemized. I let it drop onto the coffee table. The thud made both of them flinch. "Here's the accounting," I said. "Last 12 years. Total, $214,860. Not counting the groceries I bought every Thanksgiving, the birthday cakes I baked at 4 in the morning, the Christmas gifts I wrapped alone, the college textbooks I covered when Mark went back for his MBA, the summer camps for Leo and Mia every year since they turned 4. Fernanda stared at the folder like it might explode. Mark's throat worked. Mom, I didn't realize. You didn't realize because you never looked, I said quietly. You never had to. Silence settled over the room, thick and uncomfortable. Fernanda recovered first. She straightened, smoothed her coat, and tried the soft voice she used when she wanted something. Evelyn, you're not thinking clearly. Maybe the stress of everything is getting to you. It's not normal for someone your age to make such a big decision without consulting family. Mark nodded quickly. Mom, she's right. This isn't like you. You've always been so considerate. The word landed like a slap I'd been waiting to feel for years. Considerate, I echoed. I rose again and walked to the wall where the family photos hung. Mark at 7, gap-toothed grin, holding a fish he'd caught in the backyard pond. Christmas 2012, me in the kitchen apron, carving turkey while Mark and Fernanda laughed in the background, phones out. Leo's 4th birthday, me kneeling to tie balloons while Fernanda posed for selfies with the cake I'd baked at dawn. Look at these pictures, I said. In every single one I'm working. Serving. Cleaning. Holding the children so you too can relax. I'm there, but I'm not in the moment with you. I'm the background. Mark's eyes moved over the photos. His shoulders sagged. Fernanda tried again. We can fix this. You can cancel the sale. There's a grace period, right? We'll make it up to you. I'm not cancelling anything, I said. The new owners are a lovely couple. They're going to fill this house with real love, not calculations. Fernanda's face hardened. Fine. If you want to be a selfish old woman, go ahead. But don't expect us to come running when you're alone in some tiny apartment and realize what you've done. The threat hung there, familiar and tired. I smiled, small, genuine. That threat is exactly why I sold the house. For years I wondered if you loved me or just what I could provide. You just answered the question. Mark ran his hands through his hair. Mom, Fernanda's upset. She doesn't mean. She means it, I said. And the saddest part is that you won't contradict her. You never do. Fernanda stood abruptly. I'm not listening to this. Mark, we're leaving. Clearly your mother has lost her mind. Mark didn't move. He looked at me, really looked, and I saw something flicker behind his eyes. The boy who used to run to me after nightmares. The teenager who asked my advice before every big decision. The man who had slowly disappeared into his wife's expectations. Mom, he said, voice rough. Do you really think we only come for money? The question hurt more than I expected because it carried a thin thread of sincerity. I don't want to think that, I told him. But what else can I think when the only time you call is when you need something? When the only time you visit is when Fernanda needs a sitter, or there's a bill to pay, or you want me to host another party? I walked to the sideboard and pulled out the stack of birthday and Mother's Day cards I'd saved over the last decade. I spread them across the coffee table. Look, I said. Every single one in the last 6 years is in Fernanda's handwriting. You didn't even sign your own name on the last Mother's Day card. She bought it, wrote it, and handed it to you to deliver. Mark stared at the cards. His face crumpled. And 3 months ago, I continued, when I had the flu and was in bed for a week, who came to see me? Naomi. My neighbor. She brought soup, medicine, stayed overnight when my fever spiked. A woman who owes me nothing behaved more like family that week than either of you have in years. The doorbell rang. I glanced at the clock. That's Naomi. I opened the door. Naomi stood on the porch holding a bakery box and a thermos, cinnamon rolls and fresh coffee. At 68 she still moved with the energy of someone half her age. Her silver hair was pulled into a loose bun. Her eyes were kind but sharp. Perfect timing, I said. She stepped inside, smiled at Mark and Fernanda, then looked straight at me. How are you holding up? Better now, I answered. Naomi set the thermos down and opened the bakery box. Figured you might need reinforcements. Fernanda's jaw tightened. This is a family matter. Naomi met her gaze without flinching. Evelyn asked me to come. That makes it my business. She poured coffee for everyone, handed cups around, then sat beside me on the love seat. The small, thoughtful gestures, adjusting the throw pillow behind my back, making sure my mug was full, felt revolutionary in a house where I'd spent decades doing those things for everyone else. Mark rubbed the back of his neck. "Mom, why didn't you tell us you were thinking about selling?" "Because every time I tried to talk about my future, the conversation became about your present problems," I said. "Your rent increase, Leo's braces, Mia's dance classes, Fernanda's dream clinic. My future never had room." Naomi spoke quietly. "I did something similar with my youngest daughter 3 years ago. She assumed my condo was hers when I got too old to manage stairs. Got furious when I downsized and used the equity for a cruise with friends. We didn't speak for 6 months." Mark leaned forward. "What happened?" "She showed up one Christmas with wine and tears. Said she finally understood I was a person, not a retirement plan. We rebuilt slowly. She calls now just to talk. Brings her kids over to play cards. No agenda." Fernanda stared at her hands. "I grew up watching my parents fight over every dollar. When I met Mark and saw how generous you were, I think I got addicted to the safety. I stopped seeing the cost." I nodded. "I understand fear. I lived it, raising Mark alone after his father died. But fear doesn't give anyone permission to take without giving back." Mark's voice cracked. "Mom, if we could start over. Real start. Would you let us try?" I studied him. The boy who used to run into my arms after school was still there, buried under years of habit. "I'd need to see change," I said. "Not promises. Change." "Like what?" Fernanda asked quietly. "Like calling just to ask how my day was. Visiting without an agenda. Noticing when I'm tired and offering help instead of expecting me to handle everything. Respecting that my money, my time, my home are mine, not automatically yours." Mark swallowed. "And if we mess up? If old habits slip?" "Then we talk," I said. "But the talking has to go both ways. No defensiveness. No guilt trips. Just honesty." Naomi smiled. "That's how real family works." Fernanda wiped her eyes. "I started therapy last month. After you told me about the flu week, when I complained about the house instead of thanking you. I didn't realize how cruel that was." The admission loosened something in my chest. "Thank you for saying that." Mark looked around the living room, the familiar furniture, the photos, the worn spot on the rug where Leo used to race toy cars. "I don't want to lose this house because I was too selfish to see what it meant to you." "You're not losing the house," I said gently. "You're losing the version of me who let you treat it, and me, like a resource." The room fell quiet. Fernanda spoke first. "Can we help you move? Not to change your mind, just to show we mean it." I considered. "If you truly want to. Not because you feel guilty. Not because you want something later." "We want to," Mark said. 3 months later, I stood on the balcony of my new downtown Chicago apartment. 1 bedroom, bright, modern, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Millennium Park. I'd painted one wall sage green, hung my first watercolor, a soft impression of the lake at dawn, and set up an easel in the corner. The space felt like mine in a way the Naperville house never had after Mark left home. The intercom buzzed. "Mom, it's us," Mark's voice crackled. I buzzed them up. They arrived with arms full, Fernanda carrying a large canvas tote that smelled of fresh bread, Mark holding a potted red geranium. "Naomi said you like these," Leo and Mia trailing behind with handmade cards. Fernanda set the tote on the counter. "I made sourdough and that tomato soup you like. Thought we could eat together." Leo ran to the easel. "Grandma, you painted the bean." I laughed. "I did. Want to see the rest?" We spent the afternoon looking at paintings, eating, talking. No one asked for money. No one mentioned bills. When Mia spilled juice, Fernanda cleaned it up without comment. When Leo asked about my book club, I told him about the novel we were reading, and he listened. As the sun dipped behind the skyline, Mark stepped onto the balcony with me. "You look lighter," he said. I feel lighter, I answered. He hesitated. I'm sorry it took me so long to see you. Really see you. I touched his arm. You're seeing me now. That's what matters. Fernanda joined us, holding 2 mugs of tea. I got the promotion at the hospital. More hours, better pay. We're opening a savings account for the kids' college. No more leaning on you. I'm proud of you, I said. We sat together as the city lights came on. Leo and Mia curled against me on the couch, asking about my next painting. Mark and Fernanda listened to my stories, about the watercolor class, the memoir I'd started, the dance lessons I'd signed up for. When they left, hugs lingered. Promises were small, honest ones. Can we come next Saturday? Fernanda asked. Just to hang out. I'd love that, I said. After the door closed, I stood in the quiet apartment and looked out at the glittering city. For the first time in decades, I felt the future as possibility instead of obligation. I picked up my paintbrush. The canvas waited. And for once, so did I.